design, but I never have figured out these silly microphone things, so yell at me if it isn't working, right? Is it better? Okay. This morning I talked about how all of my wreaths start with a Christmas wreath, no matter if it's summertime, fall, spring. So I just kind of wanted to show you, this is how all my wreaths start. With the grapevine twisted in, and then I just start adding in seeds out of your box that you're not supposed to have, but we all do. And I usually cluster them because we don't want to polka dot, but just cluster them. So when it's all full so that you can't really see the Christmas, that's when you start putting in your spring flowers or whatever. So this is a really good base. It gives you all that depth that you need. You know, we've all checked into the hotel and there's that flat wreath behind the wall and you just want to jump over the counter and go fix it. But every time they kick me out, so I have to quit doing that. So that was one thing I wanted to touch on. The other thing, I talked about the lamp corsage, but I didn't explain it very good. So John was nice enough to bring a lamp out of Harry's office so you can see exactly what I was talking about. And like I said, when it's lit up, it's even prettier because it kind of like backlights the arrangement. So, okay. All right, so I really like to do arrangements that don't really look arranged. It looks like it's just sitting there. We talked about trays this morning. So my first arrangement is kind of that. It just looks like it's just sitting there. Very simple. I thought the little cardinals were so cute, so I glued one of them on there. And then one of these little trees. And I reinforced the tree with a little bit of the vine wire from Oasis. And a little bit, you'll see a garland in my next piece. You know how I talked about you always want companion pieces. So I didn't want to use the whole garland because I knew I wanted to do a couple other little pieces, so I snipped some out. So this is like really free because I already charged for it in there. But of course I'm going to charge for it again. So that's what we call money. So that's a good thing. So then I just used one poinsettia, glued that in there too. There's no foam or anything. The nice thing about these cork, is that what they call it? Cork, yep. The nice thing about them is you can take your stem and glue it right. You know, it's like almost like foam. You can push it right in there. So it's really easy to work with. So just a little quick, easy design. I love these little trees. They're so cute. Now to me, this is totally Christmas because of the poinsettia. But my next piece is kind of a winter arrangement. I think I left the poinsettias out on purpose because I wanted it to be more personalized. This little guy here. Again, with me and the birch, I can't do anything without birch, but this arrangement just started with some birch branches wired together, some going that way, some going that way, and then that garland that I talked about over the top. It's kind of a cool garland because it's not flat. You can like have pieces coming up and it's like get in there. And then the next thing I did, so I did the garland, and you can see where the garland, I mean, it's really. And someone asked me during the break, is it okay to use the plastic framing? Don't you guys think it's kind of coming back in? I like to mix it with the actual PVC, but. So, and then I love these orbs, these boxwood orbs. They're in the bargain cave or the bargain rooms. And you want to tell your customers if they buy these to just mist them with water every month or two, and it, makes them last a lot longer, keeps them kind of pliable. So
a dried material?
Yeah, it's dried boxwood. I'll pass them around. They're really cool. They're fun to play with. And they look good with the, with all the orbs that we were talking about earlier.
I would probably recommend to your clients also that they keep that off of the woodwork, because I think that might be a dyed material and could leach or be dry off. So that's possible.
So I glued those down into the branches and the cedar here. Then I was a little worried that they might pop off. So I took some more of the vine wire, and once you put it through there, it kind of disappeared and wired them on. So they're on there really good. And then I glued the tree in, same thing with the vine wire. And I just thought these cardinals were so cute. So I added two of them. They're kind of talking to each other. And a little bit of the holly just to give it a little bit of color. But like I said, I wanted it to be more of a winter arrangement rather than a Christmas arrangement. So you could add in the red poinsettias and be very pretty, or you could leave it like this. Then I wanted to do a wall piece to match, because remember when you were doing vignettes for your store, you want 2, 3, 5 pieces, never just do one, because that probably won't stop. This one, I had just a little bit of grapevine left on one wreath, so I wanted to kind of do a different look. So I started with my birch branches like I often do, and then I added the grapevine to give it kind of a different look to start. And then I didn't want it exactly down the middle, so I took it off to the side just a little bit. And then I just added one garland. It's that one that has the knob at the top, and then it has all those different pieces that come down. So the knob is kind of right here. And then I had some coming down and some coming up, and I just wired them. You want everything in your design to kind of point back into the design, so make sure that you're kind of bringing things and swishing them back into the design. And then I did a couple of the orbs because I think they're awesome. And the cool thing about them too is they're styrofoam in the middle, so you can glue right into them. This poinsettia is actually right into the orb because there's no foam or anything on there. And then I covered it with the back where the glue was on the orb with an old leaf. So just kind of did a grouping of the poinsettias. It's actually a pretty simple design, but I think it's kind of fun. It's a little bit more woodsy. Thank you. Oh, and what else I thought was cool about this is that after I made it, it was one of the first pieces I made, and then I couldn't remember what I was thinking when I made it. So then I was like, oh, well, it could go a lot of different ways.
Sure.
It could go on the table.
They could be easily used on a mantelpiece.
Yeah.
With the grapevine leaves coming across the top.
Yep. And candles maybe coming out of the center or something. So I did that on purpose, not really.
Yeah, you know.
So that's kind of the piece. And then I saw a show one time, it was a while back, and I was like, oh my God, this man is so smart. I don't remember who it was, but he was like, design smarter, not harder. You know, you've heard that saying before. And we do that. We take these little tiny green picks and we, do the pick machine and we put all these insertions in, and we don't need to do that. So I've learned kind of some tricks to just designing faster. And I will show you as I get this turned right. So I just started with my birch branches because we all know I can't design without sticks or branches or something woodsy. And then they have these great berry stems. Aren't they gorgeous? Like $5. I just thought that was beautiful. Yeah. So in the past I would have cut it apart. No, we're just gonna jam that sucker down.
Can't be right, all of that.
Teresa, you call me a liar.
I ain't calling you a liar, girl.
No, it really is.
Maybe you need to listen.
It really is. It's like $5. And like I said earlier this morning, you can't have too many berries. This is the year of the berry. And I apologize if it's not totally straight, but you get an idea. And again, you want everything to kind of point into your design. And then, so here's this great branch or pick. So instead of like cutting it apart, let's see. I kind of thought this through last night, but obviously I didn't think it through good enough. So we're just going to do this. So it's one insertion. We'll do like kind of a horizontal line since we have the vertical line going. Just fluff it up a little bit. And then every good design needs a focal point, so I thought this would be kind of nice because it pulls the birch look of the container up into the design. And again, just a styrofoam ball, so you can just stick a wooden pick in. It should be gluey to this, I apologize. Whoever buys it at the auction, you might want to do it. So there's that. And then, oh, I liked this branch. This again is just one piece, one branch. I cut it into two. And the only reason I did it ahead of time is because it's one of those rebar branches. You guys all know what I'm talking about. That's like totally ridiculous. So just kind of follow that horizontal line. Not thinking about it too much. you guys use the Sahara versus the hard styrofoam. Do you use the hard styrofoam?
No, I use some hair.
I did a design show a couple weeks ago, and the wholesale that I was at told me they only wanted me to use the hard styrofoam. That was tough. I mean, it was like, you have to have some muscles, which I built. And then I had one extra piece of this left over that I had strategically cut out of here because this is money. So, I think we'll just put it back here. It's kind of and the poinsettias, I think we'll keep those pretty horizontal too. Now remember when you're working with flowers, with the face I call them, you know, flat surface, gerbers, spiders, poinsettias, you know what I'm talking about, the face flowers, sunflowers. You don't want your design like one at 45, one straight up, and one coming straight out. Like that's a big no-no. So it doesn't, there's not a wrong or a right way for gerbers and sunflowers. Like you can do whatever, but just make sure all of them in that design are doing the same thing. That makes sense. When I'm evaluating designs and stuff for competitions, like that's the one thing, you know how you all have pet peeves? It's like the one thing that you're like, oh, my soul hurts. That is the one thing that gets me every time. And sometimes it's kind of hard, you have to manipulate them a little bit, especially with fresh, but that's where that Oasis wire comes in handy. I took a class, a European design class from Els, I always kill her name, Olsenberg or something like that once. And she was German and like this tall and just Amazon. Yeah. And she's like, we tell the flowers what to do, what they do not tell us. So she was like all into armatures, and which is actually pretty fun once you start playing with armatures. I don't know if you guys played that at all, but again, with me and the branches and orbs and stuff, fun stuff. But yeah, then you get a big one. If you guys don't have these, get a pair. They're going to save your wrist big time. They sell here in North America. And I just found them like a year ago. I'm like, holy crap, these are awesome.
How thick, how wide do you always handle the stitches?
I mean, they'll handle whatever, but sorry guys.
Sometimes you get some really monster.
Like the rebar ones?
Oh.
I got a better thing for that. Let me show you.
Okay.
Not too big here.
Oh,
And I was talking to Rochelle. She's going to try to find these.
yes.
But these cut anything. Like they'll cut those really hard cut snaps. So I want this to kind of dip down, but again, I want it at the same angle as these two, more or less. And then we'll add in a little bit of the holly from that bush, because I already charged for it in there. Now I'm going to charge for it again. I gotta find some foam. And just follow that same line, the horizontal line that you're making there. You guys are awful quiet this afternoon. Did you eat too much? I had brownie. They were delicious. Okay, and then ribbon. I talked about I don't really like the bows, but I do like the little picks of ribbon here and there. So any place where there's kind of an empty spot, add some in. So you can see how fast this goes together when you're not using like the little individual branches and just putting the big pieces of greenery in. I can't wait for you to go get one of these branches and see that they really are only $5.
Hey, I'm ready on my shopping list. I'll get two. I can just wait and wrap up.
Okay, so quick, easy. What makes this arrangement cool and sellable is the line, the air that you're selling there. So make sure that if you're not utilizing all that space with branches and berries and whatnot, that you add that, because you really can add a lot of money for just that visual impact. So that's that. Okay, so we're going to talk about copper again. I'm sorry, but it's like my fave this year, so I had to do 2 vignettes of it. Let's see here. Okay, so we talked this morning about, and I'm just going to bring it up again in case someone wasn't here, but this garland. So the first piece is another door hanger, kind of the same look as before. I love copper and the citrus green. I think it looks really good together. Kind of makes it all kind of pop. And there's a little bit of ribbon in here, but you almost kind of don't notice it because I put it in first. So you just see like a little peek of it here and there, which is exactly how it should be. Some fall foliages. It's a little magnolia blossom. I thought that was cute there. It was some leftover stuff that was in the box back there. And then just the copper. This is what I talked about earlier, where you want to mix, let me say this politically correctly. You want to mix the bargain stems with the more expensive stems so that you can get a piece like that, but people can still afford to buy it. So I thought these were gorgeous together. You get so much more fullness and so much more for your money. So anytime you can buy a bush, you're usually saving a lot of money, but then factor in some really, really awesome stuff. So that's one good tip for you. I had my leftover pieces, which were sort of leftover. I'm always strategically planning the leftover pieces, so I made sure I had a little piece of the garland left. Made sure I had one of these left, one poinsettia, one ball. And then a little bit of grapevine. And just started, I thought it'd be a cute little wreath. Make sure that you're decorating. Someone asked me, do I put away all my everyday home decor? Because I sell a ton of home decor. Nope, I leave it all out. But I do decorate it so it looks Christmassy. Plus it gives people ideas like, oh, I have a lamp, I need a corsage for it. Oh, I have a jug, I need a wreath for it. So everything in your store, leave it out, but kind of decorate it. Even if it's as simple as just adding some beads or a little bit of garland or something like that. So then, I love doing fireplace mantel pieces too. I think they're gorgeous. And I've got 2 or 3 fireplaces in my store, so then that's like a great way to showcase some of your work. If you don't have one in your store, just like have your dad build one or something, you know? Just add one in. It doesn't have to really work. This is kind of a companion piece to that. It's just a little bit more depth. I raised things up a little bit more. There's some orbs in there, so you have a couple cool focal points. More grapevine in it. You can see how well those play together, those 2 poinsettias. And then once you get that in, then you can start adding some accessories that you already have in your store, because we need to sell this stuff too. So that's when you can start kind of tucking in things. And remember, with candle holders, I like putting everything but candles on my candle holder, just to get people's minds going. You know, you can put some orbs, you can put this little chicken. Chickens are huge this year. I know it's an owl, but it's way funnier to call it a chicken. You're all sitting there going, man, is she dumb? But you know, you can do the candles too, and they have great colors here. So just do an assortment. Give your customers lots of choices, lots of ideas. Love it. Then I had to have, you know, the rule above 100, below 100. So I thought, okay, it's time to make some belows. Even though I really didn't want to. Did you guys see these orbs or spheres or whatever? Aren't they cool? They have like these little, almost little earrings on them. There's so many cool textures in there. There's the birch, the grapevine, the moss. So, aren't they cute? And all it is just a piece of a leftover garland. And I just glued that in and then wired it in. and then just started gluing pieces into it. Little leftover pieces, not a lot of money in that. But if somebody's like totally in love with this, but they can't afford it, you know, they can definitely afford this. And they'll leave your store feeling really good. So this piece belongs over here. And then again, we want to talk about the trays and how good the orbs look in there. Like if you're not selling trays, make sure you start selling them in the orbs because they have wonderful ones here and I promise you'll sell them. And then this one I just added, this came in like, I think a package of 3 and it's in these designs, but isn't it pretty? It's got like that citrus green that makes everything pop and the copper. And again, I would start selling this for fall and tell them definitely you can use it for Christmas. And then just show them how adding a couple of copper ornaments or something would transform this whole thing. So, did anyone have any questions on these pieces? Comments? Okay. This is going so fast. Another grapevine wreath, but this time we're going to use it as a centerpiece. And so I really wanted to get the depth out of it. So I kind of ripped it apart and then in a couple spots took the Oasis fine wire and I found it together again.
Patience, when you rip your grapevines apart, do you kind of mist them first or so or let them stand in here so that they don't soft?
No, just, you know how they're wrapped and then there's that one piece that goes like this?
Yeah.
Just cut that a couple spots and rip that off and throw it away because it's too weird, you can't do anything with it. And then they just rip apart really easy. They're messy, but yeah.
But it's soft enough to wash.
Yeah. Okay. And then I thought it would be fun to put in a few candles. Of course, then I started thinking you might want to use, you know, battery operated right next to the grapevine. Because I'm super cute, but not always super smart. So that was a joke. I hate that. So let's see. Something like that. To give people ideas too. And that's another thing. When anyone's looking at a wreath on my wall, I'm like, I can sell this to them. And I'll walk over and say, oh, look how cool it is as a centerpiece, put an urn coming out of it, some berries or whatever. Anytime someone thinks they can get double or triple use out of an item, then they're always more willing to buy it and pay that kind of money for it. So it's just kind of a fun way to just get a different use out of a wreath. Here's another fireplace piece. And this, I think, took 2/3 of the garland, or close to it, maybe like 10 feet or something. But have you guys been in the bargain cave yet? Yes. Did you find these little treasures? I think they're like, okay, seriously, I'm getting nervous saying this, but I think they're like 12 or like $7 or something like that.
$14.95 for a dozen, and half price would be
$7.50.
$7.50.
So, I mean, they're gorgeous, and they're styrofoam. I kind of started probably about 3 or 4 years ago only buying non-breakable ornaments for my store because, oh my gosh, seriously. If you've ever been in my store, my trees are like so packed, you can't even tell they're trees. So people will be taking stuff out and you hear glass shattering and it's awful. And then they have these cone trees, which have been around forever but still sell really, really strong. I like to kind of flip them and do arrangements coming out of them. That's kind of a cool look. And also coming out of the trees, like you can have them coming out like this with hydrangeas or something kind of oozing out of them. It's kind of a fun way to get more use out of them. These ones are tin, which is nice. Again, unbreakable. But, you know, you can also get them in like the styrofoam, which is good because then you can like tuck stuff and glue things right into them. So these are a set of 3 for, I have no idea. But I'm sure it's a very good price. So it's not ever done until it's overdone. So then you just keep adding. Because you want your customers to want it, and you want them to want all of it. And when they start saying, ooh, how much is that going to be? Because we've added in that 30% labor, we can say, oh, well, you know what, if you buy all of it, I can give you 10 or 20% off. And you've made some happy customers then you want to, if you had candle holders, you want to tuck in some stuff that maybe is not Christmas, but you want to get rid of it. It's been in your store a little bit too long. So that is my final piece, and I hope you guys like it.